So hello everybody, and thank you for joining. My name is Natalia, and I manage Beetroot Academy in Stockholm. Today's webinar is hosted by Beetroot Academy. If you haven't heard about us, Beetroot Academy is a Swedish-Ukrainian IT academy that provides IT education and helps people take their career to the next level. We teach intensive IT courses in a friendly atmosphere where no one is left behind. And as a part of our international expansion, this spring we opened Beetroot Academy in Sweden and Kosovo. In our schools, we offer both offline and online courses in web development, design, IT management, and much more. If you need any additional information, please feel free to contact me after the webinar. Today we have Topsail representatives who are going to talk about how to embrace the advantages of working remotely without losing the benefits of conventional employment. For those who don't know, Topsail is an exclusive network of the top freelance software developers, designers, finance experts, product managers, and project managers in the world. And before we start, I would like to mention some technical moments. Please turn off your audio and video during the webinar. All questions you can ask in a chat. If you have some trouble with the video, please rejoin or send me a message and I will try to help you. So that's all from my side. Thanks for your attention. And Pavel, Jazana, please start.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Natalia, for the introduction. Welcome to the webinar about remote freelancing and traditional employment and how we can combine the advantages of both. Before we get started, I will briefly introduce myself. I'm a growth manager at Topsail, and my role is to bring new developers in our network to show a little bit more about remote freelancing. But me, myself, I was previously part of the network. I was working with our clients. And before I joined Topsail, I was working also for a corporation. So I have the experience with both sides of the equation. And also I'm a community leader here in Prague. So I talk to developers on a daily basis. And I get exposure to a lot of their feedback. I will have my colleague Janana here with me, so she will introduce herself later in the presentation. She is responsible for talent sourcing for our network as well. Or Janana, do you want to go ahead right away?
No, it's fine. You can go with your presentation. I'll be happy to introduce myself.
Sure.
Later. Thank you.
Okay, great. So remote freelancing and traditional employment. Before we get started, can I get just a few responses in the chat? How many of you are freelancers and how many of you are employees? And how many of you would like to explore freelancing in the future? So just type in, I'm a freelancer or I'm an employee and I would like to start freelancing in the future. Just to get a sense of what kind of audience we have, because it will impact the way we present stuff. So while you are responding, I will get started with the slides. So first, I would like to highlight that this is a trend that has never occurred in the past. This is a new thing that is happening. Remote freelancing is becoming more and more powerful, and it's projected, according to some studies, that by 2027, the majority of US workforce is going to be working as freelancers. This is something that is dramatically changing the way we work. And if you think a few years ahead when you want to be in a few years, you will be very likely to come across with remote freelancing and potentially will need to make a decision whether you want to stay as an employee or if you want to transition to remote freelancing. We can see governments taking measures and implementing laws to support this kind of lifestyle and work style. And we see that the traditional 9-to-5 employment seems to be in decline. When the Edelman researchers asked freelancers how much more they would have to get paid in order to return to a traditional employment, 50% of them responded that there is no amount of money that they would accept to return to a traditional employment. So once people start with remote freelancing, they are really incentivized and they really want to keep going. and it's very unlikely that they would return back. You cannot really put a price tag on flexibility and freedom. So in this talk, I would like to help you understand a little bit more about how remote freelancing works in practice and share a little bit more about it and compare the advantages of remote freelancing to full-time employment, and share some best practices how to make it work in long term. And for those of you that would be interested in starting, I would like to share a bit more about some of the tips that we are hearing from our community, and hopefully this will be helpful for you. We always welcome questions, so please note them down or write them here in the chat, and then at the end of the presentation, Jenna will also have a few things to say, and then after that we will have a Q&A session. So then we'll be more than happy to answer all the particular questions that you may have. So first of all, before we start talking about remote freelancing, what it is, we need to talk about what it is not. So there are a lot of misconceptions about remote freelancing. So first of all, many people think that remote freelancing is basically traveling the world and working from a beach, which has something into it, but I don't know how many of you have tried working from a beach. And there are a lot of cliches about it. So, you know, remote freelancing is not lying on a beach and pretending to work. It's a hard work. You need to get stuff done, and beach is not a perfect environment for that. So I have tried that, and I discovered that there are 5 different disadvantages from working from a beach. If you're interested, then we can cover that in the Q&A session, but I think some of you might get an idea of what these are. But in general, what I would like to highlight that remote freelancing doesn't mean that you don't have to work. You need to put a lot of effort to keep your clients happy, but at the same time, you get the benefit of doing the work on your terms in the time that you decide to dedicate to do the work. Second misconception is that remote freelancers are all digital nomads. It's not always the case. A lot of people like to travel, but many of them actually have their home office, like myself. We like to work remotely because we can have a comfortable environment where we are. But you know, many remote freelancers have families, and it's very difficult to travel with your family. So in general, yes, there are significant amount of digital nomads among remote freelancers, but when we are embracing the trend of remote freelancing, we are not necessarily embracing just the digital nomad lifestyle. We are actually just giving people option to embrace the lifestyle that they want to choose. So if you prefer to stay in your home office or in a co-working place, it's something that you can do whether you work as a remote freelancer, or if you want to choose to work in an office as an employee. That's really a choice that you are making, but no, you don't become a digital nomad just by starting working remotely. And third misconception is that remote work means no collaboration and no teamwork. So while it's quite often the case that you need to work on a project just by yourself, I wouldn't say that it's a majority of cases. Even in my experience on the projects that I worked, there was a lot of collaboration, a lot of teamwork. There are just so many things that you cannot do just by yourself. So usually when you start growing a project, you need to build a team around it. And usually that involves daily stand-ups and collaboration. So even if you are a remote freelancer, you will become part of an extended team. You will have a project manager at the team, or you might be yourself the project manager. And then the client might take a role in the team or not. So depending on what company we are talking about. We also have a lot of corporate clients, and they like to blend the freelancers with the rest of the structure. So then there is not really that much differentiation between who is their core employee and who is working with them. The main difference is that someone makes it in their office, and the remote freelancers might work from their home to support that project. But I would like to make it clear that there's a lot of teamwork involved in remote freelancing. So what is a remote freelancing? If we think about how to define it precisely, there's no clear definition of it, but it's, to put it simply, you can think of remote as being as an opposite of being in a client's office, and freelancing means that you are your own boss. So you don't have someone watching your back all the time. It brings much more responsibility on your shoulders, but at the same time, as far as you keep the client happy, you can decide on your own schedule. You can decide on if you want to, work the entire night to get things done and then enjoy some rest the next few days. But it's really up to you to do the planning and make sure that you can deliver based on the timelines. So what are some of the main advantages of remote freelancing? The first one is obvious, is the time flexibility. While some clients might require you to attend some meetings at certain times, usually you get the benefit of deciding on your own schedule. So you can take more work in the mornings or do some independent work in the evenings, depending on also your client's location. You might you need to be flexible with them, but at the same time, you gain a lot of benefits yourself. So as a remote freelancer, for example, you can do hiking during the day and then spend your evening and part of the night working. It really depends of what your preferences are. And you can also take more or less work in a given season. So you are not obliged to work 8 hours a day, every day for a long time. So you can, for example, decide that during the summer, I really want to do a lot of sports or a lot of traveling. I will just take 4 hours of work every day. And then you can take more projects in the winter season, or depending on, if you have some other personal commitments or preferences that you want to explore. Some people have their own projects that they want to get started on while they are working with clients. So this is something that you can do only as a freelancer. You wouldn't have this kind of flexibility as an employee. Second benefit is the diversity of projects. So you can work on multiple projects at a time, and also the engagements tend to be shorter than you would necessarily need to that you would have as a full-time employee. So as an employee, you would typically be on one job for a couple of years, whilst with freelancing, you would get on a project for maybe 3, 4, 6 months, depending on the complexity of the project, and then move on. This helps you gain a larger exposure to more experience. You will also have more connections as a result of this work. So it has higher networking potential. And also you can cherry pick the projects that are personally relevant to you. So if you want to focus on different skills and you want to grow different skills, you would prefer the projects that help you grow these skills. So it really helps you focus and up to speed with the trend. Third advantage is you get better rates in most markets. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that, but if you think as a European, you get exposure to a lot of US clients as a remote freelancer, and you can potentially grow your rates to much higher levels than you would be able to have as an employee in Europe, even working for US companies. And finally, you have the freedom to travel or work from home from different places. Freedom of location. So this is something that many people get used to when they start freelancing, and this is something that they really want to give up. And that's one of the reasons why they plan to stay as freelancers for the foreseeable future. We need to acknowledge that remote freelancing has also some benefits for clients. And from the client side, you can get flexible access to different skills, different expertise on demand. So imagine that you are pulling on a new project and you need some support at the beginning from different people to help you get started, but you wouldn't necessarily need their support long term. So you can just hire remote freelancers for the time that you need them. You can often hire them on lower cost, and that comes with the previous one. So if you only pay people when you actually need them, that means that you have savings there. And also with the rates, if you are, especially in the US, then hiring people in Silicon Valley now is very expensive and sometimes almost impossible to achieve. So with remote freelancers, you can easily get the bandwidth to to get your project started. This is sometimes underestimated, but the outsider perspective is really valuable to many companies, because if you feel that your project is not moving fast enough, you can get someone that has worked on similar projects in the past and can help you bring new knowledge or new ideas, and potentially you can lower the complexity of some of the challenges that you are looking to solve with the outsider perspective. The project that I worked on previously, I saw that so much that, you know, just companies benefiting from bringing outsiders to their projects and speeding up the process as a result. And finally, you know, if you have a project that requires 24-hour support, you can have one person in Southeast Asia, one person in Europe, one person in the US, and just with 3 people, you suddenly have the global 24-hour support for any service that you are running. So for example, if you are doing international trading across the stock exchanges, and I had one client like that, then you can, with freelancers, you can easily achieve the global support. But finally, I think the most valuable advantage for clients is that the best people have plenty of options, and they can choose for whom they want to work. So if people and freelancers and developers are exploring and embracing these new approaches and new styles of work, and the companies don't adapt to it, they are losing potential to reach to the best developers to join their teams. So it's important to stay up to speed with the trends. So why isn't everyone freelancing? We need to acknowledge that even the traditional employment has a lot of benefits. So to put it easy, you have one employer, one office, you have clear schedule, clear boundaries, and you have long-term engagement. The benefits of traditional employment are quite straightforward. You get the stability, you have a guaranteed monthly paycheck. It's a bit less demanding in terms of self-discipline. So, you know, if you stop working as an employee, someone will notice, and they will motivate you to try to motivate you to keep working. You have stricter daily routine. There is good separation of work and life, and it's easier to get hired. If you convince the company that you're a good fit for them, you get hired and you are getting started. Whereas with freelancing, you need to start building your portfolio of clients and building the relationships, and it takes a little bit more time. It's easier to present what you're doing. So if you have a job title within a company, it's something that people are used to at the moment. So it's easier to explain to your friends and family what you're working on. And so it's also easier to disconnect for vacations and weekends. While you can get some of these benefits as a freelancer as well, it's a little bit more difficult to negotiate across multiple clients. Obviously, weekends is usually the case for freelancers as well, but with vacation, it's a little bit more complex. So now, some of the main challenges of remote freelancing. As I mentioned, the first one is responsibility. Taking ownership and responsibility is a must, and not delivering is not an option. Second main challenge is communication. Especially if you are working remotely, excellent communication with clients is a must, and setting a realistic expectation and being transparent of any challenges can help you prevent a lot of issues. Third is your skills. So you need to be continually developing the skills that are currently in demand. In traditional employment, you just can focus on the skills that are required for your current job, but you don't necessarily need to think months ahead of where you want to be professionally. If you are planning to stay with the company, it doesn't motivate you day to day to focus on growing your skills. Whereas with freelancing, you need to think, when I'm done with this project, what am I going to do next? So if you feel that your current technology stack is getting obsolete, you are motivated to learn new skills. And finally, online presence. So gathering the right experience, building an online portfolio. And this is where talent networks like Topsail can help you, because this is kind of outsourced to the platform. So how do you combine the advantages of both? You want to have the freedom and flexibility of freelancing, but at the same time get guaranteed hours and getting paid on time. So these are a lot of challenges that freelancers have. There are two basic solutions to this. One is to work with long-term clients. This takes time. You need to build relationships, and it often requires that you need to know some people that at the beginning that you can start working with. And second solution is joining a talent network. So I will speak about talent networks for a bit now. Talent network like Topsail is a network that connects freelancers to their clients. And for the freelancers, it will help you acquire new clients, streamline some of the processes in terms of getting visibility, getting marketing, and you don't necessarily need to do it yourself at all. If you have the right skills, the talent network will do the connections, and then you just you convince the client that you can deliver the project, and that's it. Second is the talent network provides guarantees for both sides. So for the client, the network is here to make sure that their project will get done, no matter what happens with the freelancer. And for the freelancer, it ensures that they will get paid on time every time, no matter what happens with the client. So even if the client is delayed on their payments for a couple of months, with talent network, you'll get paid on schedule every time. With that comes also legal and financial security. So regardless of where we are based in the world, what is your country of citizenship, and where the client is based, Talent Network is handling all the legal and financial risks to make sure that you don't get sued and you don't get in trouble with, if client is delayed with payments, you don't have to worry about it at all. And finally, I think this is really important and often not stressed enough. The talent is here to support you to prevent and resolve issues. The teams that are supporting these projects have a lot of experience with this, and they have run a lot of projects in the past. So if they ask for regular feedback, both clients and talent on a regular basis, and if they feel that there is some potential problem growing, they can step in and help prevent. And if there is some misunderstanding or some escalation between the client and the talent working on a project, they can find a good way to solve it as a win-win for everyone. Now, so if you feel that you would like to pursue a freelance path in the future and you would like to start freelancing, what are some of the tips that freelancers would give you? Some things that would help you get started. First, this is granted, is quite straightforward. Make sure that you find master the skills that are demanded for remote positions. Obviously, if you are a freelance developer with React or Python, you are already there. But if you think a few years ahead, you want to be always in the demand field of the market. So make sure that the skills that you have are not getting obsolete. Second tip, and this is something that I would strongly encourage people to have, is to have savings to survive for at least 6 months in case of issues. I think that this is general good advice for everyone, but it puts you in so much less stress if you're working with new clients in new environment. You don't necessarily need to aim for shorten paycheck, but you can grow the relationship without too much pressure. And obviously with Talent Network it's a bit easier, but in general this is something that I would give as a good advice. In many countries you can get a side gig before you quit your full-time job. And you can also get a long-term client as a primary contract with them that they will guarantee you some of the hours. So this is what I actually did before. When I was quitting my full-time job with a large corporation, I already had one client that was willing to guarantee some hours for me for the upcoming 2 or 3 months. So I knew that I had some sure income for that period. I know that in some countries or some companies restrict that, so you need to make sure that you are actually allowed to potentially start working with that client while you are at the full-time job, or you can get started after you quit the relationship. It's always good to have a plan in mind. It's a realistic goal where you want to be in the next 1 or 2 years. So it can be in terms of what technology you want to be working on, where if you want to be, what kind of projects you want to be running, potentially the number of clients that you want to have in which countries, etc. If you can, I would encourage you to give it a try. Pick up a side gig for a couple hours per week. You can do that with talent network like Topsail. You can join the network even while you are still employed. And if your employer allows you, then you can do a side gig, over weekends or during the week, depending on how, there are 3 types of jobs with Topsail. There are full-time jobs, part-time jobs, then hourly jobs. So the hourly jobs can be within 10 hours per week or so. So it can be manageable even during your full-time job. So if you are hesitant whether and unsure if you could do it for full-time, this could be a good way how to try it. My next step would be join a talent network. Really, there is no risk for you to do that. With Topsail, we have quite robust screening process. So we actually require everyone to take a lot of exercises before we give developers access to our clients. But the benefit of it is that we try to keep the balance between the jobs that we have and the developers that we have in the network. So anyone can find a job once they get in. And I personally can say I was working in the network for more than 2 years before I joined the team that I'm working with right now. And it is one of the most comfortable ways to work as a freelancer. As I mentioned before, you get a lot of the headaches removed as a result. And the caliber of clients that you get exposure to is unrealistic that you would be able to find them yourself. My final tip would be, if possible, work on multiple projects at a time. So when I was working for clients, I usually had at least 2 part-time projects at a time. So one of them tend to be a little bit more long-term, maybe a little bit more relaxed. And one of them was short-term and challenging, where I got to learn many things. So this is something that worked really well for me. But at the same time, that's for limited season. Then maybe for some time, you can take a longer-term project that you feel is really good and that you would be excited to work on for a longer time. But I feel that if you work on multiple projects at a time, you get a larger exposure to different challenges, different technologies, and different teams. So that can always help. And finally, learn from other freelancers and ask a lot of questions. And this is how events like this webinar or any community events that your local communities are driving can help. We also have Topsail community that is running a lot of events, so feel free to check them out. And when you talk to freelancers, they will tell you not only more about their own experience, but they can also provide feedback on what your plans are and how you feel that you want to grow your career as a freelance developer, and potentially provide you with some additional tips that obviously I didn't cover all of them. And these are just some example quotes that you can hear from developers that joined our network. So we received so much positive feedback from them that how Topsail really helped them, and I can second that from my experience. I really think that promoting talent networks to freelancers that are interested in starting remote freelancing is one of the easiest jobs to do, because it's really providing a lot of value to people, and the benefits of it are so strong. So with that, I would like to wrap up my presentation. and thank you for your attention. And I'll be looking forward to hearing your questions. But now I will give some space to Janan as well.
Thanks, Pavel. Should I start screen sharing? All right. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Give me just a second too. All right, so let me give you a short introduction as promised. I am Janana, and I've been with Topsail for almost 5 years now. Naturally, my role has changed over time. I actually started in the screening team. After a couple of months, I started helping with sourcing, specifically sourcing designers, moved to developers, and our team has evolved over time. Currently, I am the talent acquisition lead here at Topsail. The role of my team is basically to help talented professionals join our network. So Topsail is an elite network of the world's top talent, business, design, and technology that enables companies to scale their team on demand. So we basically help connect talented people with top-tier organizations all over the world. My colleague Pavel has talked about freelancing in more detail, and all the differences and perks of working either as a freelancer or in a traditional job. But to recap, with Topsail, freelancing has become much easier. As Pavel mentioned, a lot of professionals actually end up earning more with a lower cost. And you have that freedom to design your own lifestyle. With Topsail, once you join the network, you decide how much would you like to dedicate, how many hours per week would you like to dedicate to Topsail projects, and of course, what would be your ideal hourly rates. And you can do all this. You can join Topsail regardless of your location and education level. So you don't really have to be a computer science. You don't have to have a computer science degree to join the network. On the other hand, while freelancing, people can easily become siloed in their own work. If you're working from home, you can get a bit lonely. That's why we are working hard on building a strong community. Once you join the network, you gain access to our Slack, where there are thousands of business, design, and tech professionals from all over the world who have been working as freelancers for a while, or have just started like you and have similar questions that you might have, but they're always happy to help you and engage. That's one of the tips that Pavel just mentioned, being able to speak with other freelancers. But we also offer opportunities for professional and personal developments. If you're, for example, interested in improving your public speaking skills, you can join our speakers network, where you can get individual coaching and guidance when applying to conferences or events you would like to deliver your speeches to. Topsail speakers deliver, I think, more than 150 events, talks on different events each year. If you have a technology or a topic that you are passionate about and you would like to write an article about it, you can do it on our Topsail blog. Our blog is featuring key technology updates, different tutorials, freelancer resources, management insights, and of course, this can be your go-to for learning about the new trends. Again, as one of the tips Pavel mentioned, mastering skills that are in high demand is an important thing to keep in mind when you're freelancing. We have a Topsail Academy that hosts regular, rigorous learning sessions for the most in-demand skills. So we are presenting our experience network with ongoing opportunities to update and elevate their portfolios. Of course, under normal circumstances, we organize and support hundreds of events every year all over the world. With the current COVID-19 situation, our events have become more virtual, but hopefully we'll be able to organize live events soon again. So before fully joining our network, as Pavel mentioned, everybody needs to go through the screening process. And the screening process is designed to evaluate your skills and give you a sense of the work we do with our clients. So there are several steps that everybody needs to take. The first one is language and personality assessment. So you should be able to communicate clearly and professionally in English. The second step is an online test or portfolio, depending on your expertise. If you're a technical professional, if you're a developer, that would be an online test. For designers, that's portfolio review, but that's in-depth skill review that we do. The third step is a live problem-solving session with one of our experts. And the last screening step is a comprehensive test project. It's a real-world industry problem, and you should come up with a solution you would be proud to share with the clients. So once you complete the process, we will help you set up your public-facing or client-facing profile, and our team will start connecting you with exciting projects with global clients. Of course, once you start working, a continued excellence on engagements with Topsail clients is also expected. So we work with different clients from Fortune 500 companies to startups. We have a team of matchers who are all experts in their fields, who make sure that you're finding a job that is the right fit for you and your skills and your interests and preferences. And they are basically your go-to people whenever you have a question or about the project that you're interested in or working on, or if you need any help, like the disputes that Pavel mentioned. Once you have successfully completed the screening process and have set up your profile, there are actually two ways of how you can get projects. You can either wait for us to reach out to you with a project that we think you might be a good fit for, or you can start searching for jobs on the platform. You can filter by skills, by time zone overlap, and many other criteria. And once you find a job that matches your interests and preferences, you can apply by writing a personalized pitch. If you're writing an application yourself, every application is going to be reviewed by our matchers. They will select candidates that are the best fit. Of course, if you are selected, you will be notified. And if your profile stands out with the clients, you will be invited to have an interview with them. If that goes well, you'll be invited to have a paid trial period. If the trial was successful for both you and the client, you have landed your first job. Congratulations. The process is similar. If we reach out to you, if you like the project, we would invite you to have an interview with the clients. You can start the paid trial period. If it's successful, you can start working on that. And I hope this gives you a good idea of how it's like to become a Topsailer, become a Topsail freelancer. I would like to leave more room for you to ask questions. And of course, if you have any questions you would like to ask me later, here is my email address. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you for your time, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions you might have.
All right. So do we have any questions? Maybe maybe before we get started with any questions that someone might have, I would just like to highlight that we can, in case you would be interested to get started with Topsail, let us know, and we'll share some information with you after the call, so you can you will know, you can reach back to us, and we'll kind of help you apply, or if you know someone that would be interested in and would be a good fit. So we are looking in general for people that have at least 3 years of professional experience. So feel free to share them our contact information and let us know. Yeah, and I'm not sure if there are some questions, but yeah, Jana.
I think we already had first 2 questions here. So the first one, is there any fee to get started with Topsail? There are no fees. You can submit your application and start your screening process. There are no fees to being a Topsailer. If you've completed the process successfully and joined the network, there are no fees. Not to start, not to be a part of the network.
Yeah, the only thing that you're required to do is to invest a little bit of your time to the screening process, which is if you are applying to a school, you do the same. Or so if you think about it, and then as soon as you get your first job, you instantly get that back. So it's what I hear from developers that are in the network. They really feel that the screening process was completely worth it.
And there is a question regarding taxation. So taxes really differ from country to country. Once you join the network, our contract is a freelancing contract. It is defined differently in the different laws. And I would always suggest people just explore what the laws are and what the requirements are in the country where they are based in or where they are from.
In most countries, you are invoicing as you would to any other client. So that would be your point of invoice. So, and it's based in the US. So for example, I'm based in Czech Republic, and here it's very straightforward just to send invoice to the United States, and it's actually in some ways more convenient than invoicing to Europe. One question here is about the specialties that are more required. So we are generally looking for high-skilled developers overall, but specifically we have some priorities that come in that come from our clients, and they are shifting at a time. But we are looking all the time for front and back-end developers, especially skills like Ruby or React, Python. So if you have any of these skills, don't hesitate to apply. But also like mobile development, React Native, and all these skills. Definitely, we have a lot of demand for these skills. So let us know if you have these skills. But as I mentioned, this keeps changing over time. So what we are planning on doing is publishing actually a real asset of what skills are currently in demand. So hopefully we'll get that done in the next couple of months. So we will have more insights into that.
Okay, and the question regarding minimum age required to join Topsail. So we don't have a minimum age. We don't have such requirements like minimum age or minimum number of years of experience. Obviously, we are working with seniors, so whoever joins the network or whoever attempts to join the network should have some time, a couple of years of experience in the professional setting, and be able to deliver projects as individual contributors. So somebody who has had ownership of different projects in the specific skill. So we are basically looking for subject matter experts for different skills. So everybody's welcome to try, but I would say that as students or as people who haven't had professional experience in specific skills, but you're interested in it, I would just suggest probably building up your experience and then applying to the network, because currently we don't have any projects for more junior people.
I think you need to have at least 1 year of full-time experience to be able actually to be led through the early stages of the process. But if you are a student, I would encourage you to try to get as much experience as you can get while you are studying, and then get at least some time on a full-time job where you can actually work within a team on a daily basis for full-time. You will learn so much, and it will be quite different than working on a side gig as a student. So, but if you have an opportunity to work with a company, even and learn from more senior members, I would encourage you to choose the skills that you want to grow and find a good company that you can work with, and keep an eye on Topsail, and then potentially a year later you can revisit that and start applying. Also, things are constantly evolving, so we don't know where we'll be in 6 months or within a year. So we might have some programs for more junior people, but at the moment, and potentially have some internships with our clients. But at the moment, that's not the case. So right now, please try to get more experience outside with companies. And I think actually, if you are starting for a job, there are some advantages of being on site, where you can watch other people doing their work and learn from them. So I would encourage you to get at least 1 year, maybe even 2 years of on-site full-time job, and then apply.
So there is a question how to stand out among other freelancers as a beginner. Any other ways besides Topsail? I guess there are a lot of communities online, a lot of groups that you can join that can help you gain more visibility, or just open up different doors where you can start your career.
Maybe if I may add to that, I would, if you are a junior developer, I would focus on gaining the right skills and character, and being reliable, being punctual. Because if you have a good reference points, people would tell each other, and you would probably get more the projects that you get are from word of mouth. So if someone knows that you're a great developer, they will just invite you to a new opportunity. So instead of focusing on trying to be as visible, obviously that helps, but primarily you should be focusing on, always delivering what you're supposed to deliver on time, keeping the clients happy, and being responsible and reliable as a developer, and also growing your hard skills. So being able to speed up the development, being able to come up with more creative solutions and learn. There's a question about project manager positions. So we have a project manager vertical within Topsail. We have a lot of clients that are requiring that project managers will be based in the US. So I'm not sure if I can share a bit more about that, but to become a project manager with Topsail, you really need to have high caliber profile. So you need to be familiar with the most current frameworks and ways of working. So I would, and technical background is also an advantage. It's not a must, but you necessarily need to have at least 3 or 4 years of experience as an elite project manager with a larger company. All right. I think this is it for the questions. Thanks a lot for your attention. It's always great to speak with our communities and listen to some of the questions that you may have. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be in touch. You have our, we will share our email addresses later. So in case you have some additional questions or you would like to share some of your friends or introduce some of your friends to us, let us know. Hopefully we'll be in touch at other events.
Thank you very much for your time, everyone. It was really nice meeting you all virtually, and yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you if you have any questions or need any help.
Right. Natalia, anything from your end before we wrap this up?
So I will be sharing slides and the video recording. I will send through email to everyone, probably by tomorrow. So yeah, and if you guys have any questions, just email me. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you as well. Have a great rest of the day.
Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe.